Have you ever wondered what the difference is between Valorant and Counter-Strike? Well, I wondered that too, so I decided to find out. And let me just say, these two games are not that different than you think they are. Okay, so the first thing I'll be showing you guys is the difference between shooting with an AK relative to shooting with a Vandal or Phantom. So as you can see in Counter-Strike, when shooting this gun, there is a lot more kickback than in the Valorant version. In Valorant, it's a lot more calm and not all over the place, while in the CS version, it's a lot more realistic, and you can see the pushback. Additionally, when holding the shoot button in CS, it moves up slowly while shooting the bullets all over the place. While in Valorant, it feels more precise even when holding the shoot button. As you can see in Valorant, it always made this little curved pattern when I continued to shoot. However, with CS, the bullets just seemed to go all over the place, and it was pretty much random. The last thing I'll say about this is that in Valorant, when you hold the shoot button, it emits a smoke at the end of the barrel. While in Counter-Strike, there's not a lot of smoke that comes out of the gun. Next, I'll be talking about the flashes in each game. Each game has a different approach on how they do flashes. In Counter-Strike, they have an actual flashbang, which when it goes off, it puts pure white on screen and actually blinds you. While in Valorant, each character has a different way of flashing an enemy. And when a flash goes off in Valorant, it correlates to the color of the character. Also, when a Valorant flash goes off, a shine gets placed where the flash was last seen. While in Counter-Strike, they have a pure white screen, which again is more realistic than Valorant. The next thing I'll be talking about is the gun, the op. Starting things off, both ops look decently similar in each of the games, and shoot pretty similar too. When shooting both these ops, they both give a big kickback to it when the bullet's fired. But when shooting in Counter-Strike, the bullets have some smoke rings that come out of it that give the gun a little bit more of an effect. While in Valorant, they don't really have that. Now, when zooming into each of these ops, one covers the entire screen except the middle, while the other one shows the scope and has a little bit more detail to it. At the end of the day, both ops are pretty much the same. The fourth thing I'll be talking about is fire or Molotovs in each of the games. Starting off with Counter-Strike, when you throw a Molotov, a big pool of fire will go where the Molotov lands. And the fire in Counter-Strike will even start spreading further and further from where it was thrown. Additionally, you can even see the fire affecting the ground under it by making it look burnt. While in Valorant, it's less exciting. When you throw a fire on the ground, it will make a little circle of fire. This circle of fire doesn't last too long, so you have to plan out where you're gonna throw it. Also with this fire, it looks less realistic and more cartoony, but overall, still pretty cool. The next feature I'll be talking about is smokes. Now in each of these games, they both have majorly different ways of doing smokes. In Valorant, when a smoke is placed, it takes the shape of a sphere, while in Counter-Strike, it's more smoke-like. Now Valorant smokes do come with an advantage where you're able to place the smoke wherever you want. While in Counter-Strike, you have to throw your smoke to be able to place it. Furthermore, I feel like Valorant smokes have a little bit of an advantage and a disadvantage. When entering a smoke in Valorant, you're still able to see a lot of things in the smoke. While in Counter-Strike, you are completely blind and you're not able to get out unless you use the minimap. Each smoke in both of these games have their advantages and disadvantages, but overall, they do their job as a smoke. The next one I'll be talking about, which I thought was a pretty interesting one, is the water physics in each of the games. Starting things off, looking at both of the games, you can definitely tell the water physics in both games are majorly different. In Counter-Strike, when shooting a bullet into the water, it gives the effect that a bullet actually hit the water. While in Valorant, the ripple effect in the water is very fast. Additionally, when hitting the water with a knife in Valorant, it doesn't really do anything. While in Counter-Strike, it gives the effect that the knife is actually hitting the water. The final thing about the water physics is that when you're walking around in the water in Valorant, it doesn't really show any movement. While in Counter-Strike, the water has a more realistic feel to it. The next one I'll be talking about is the different physics when it comes to shooting at a wall. So as you can see, each game has pretty different physics when it comes to using a pistol to shoot a wall. When the bullet hits the wall in Valorant, there's a little bit of rubble that comes out of it. But in Counter-Strike, they make it more realistic by adding a lot more rubble effect when shooting the wall. Additionally, when shooting different materials like wood, the Counter-Strike version accommodates for that, while the Valorant version just stays the same as it was before. Both of these games have pretty much the same physics, except that Counter-Strike has a little bit more realism to it. The next thing I'll be talking about is how different the gun skins are in each of the games. Both games have their own type of art style to them to make it more unique. In Counter-Strike, the skins again have a more real-life feel to them, and the art on the skins are very interesting too. But in Valorant, it is completely different. Valorant has a lot of guns that look more futuristic. As you can see, all these guns have a pretty sci-fi feel to them. Now, don't get me wrong, I love how Valorant skins look, but in my opinion, I kind of like Counter-Strike skins more. Now, this may be biased since I play more Counter-Strike than Valorant, but I love just that you can gamble on Counter-Strike, so yeah. Anyways, moving on to the last and final thing, which is the glass physics. Both games have their own way of doing glass physics. Like in Valorant, when you break the glass, it breaks very quickly, and you can barely see any of the glass effects when it's broken. While in Counter-Strike, when you break glass, it breaks the glass into multiple smaller pieces, and it looks really real, to be honest. Even when shooting glass from afar, it still looks pretty amazing in Counter-Strike. While in Valorant, I guess it's more practical to have the glass break faster. Each game has their different ways of doing glass effects, some better than others. Overall, these two games have many similarities and many different differences too. And I've only scratched the surface on how many there are. But at the end of the day, I would say that Valorant and Counter-Strike are pretty different games. And they are both amazing games that everyone should play. Anyways, that's all I really had to say. But if you guys did like the video, please make sure you guys leave a like on the video. Also, subscribe to the channel. It really helps me out and I'd really appreciate it. Anyways, I'll catch you guys on the next one. See ya.